Hi witches! So we are finishing up our moon phase discussion for this month by covering the second new moon in April. Now this moon is extra special, so I'm really glad I'm talking about it today instead of like earlier this month. But it's super special not only because it is the second new moon in April, meaning it is a black moon. Ooh, so spooky. We're gonna break it down, don't worry. But it's also, we will also be experiencing a partial solar eclipse around this time. So we're gonna get into it, we're gonna talk about it. And if you guys have any questions, as always, leave them down below. But without further ado, let's talk about the upcoming new moon on April 30th. So let's talk about the new moon in general, how a witch can work with it. The new moon is generally a time of new beginnings, renewal, cleansing, starting a new cycle, initiation. It's also a time of cleansing and seen as kind of the beginning of the lunar cycle. So this is the phase of the moon in which we are planting those seeds of intention and starting to work towards our goals for the month ahead. It lends us the energy to cleanse ourselves of that which no longer serves us and to move forward from that. So during the new moon, I recommend either doing a cleansing ritual bath, cleansing your house, and resetting your space. I do this both during the full moon and the new moon, just to be honest. I love cleansing my space. Also, as a reminder, there is like a bunch of construction going on outside my house. I am hoping that this is the last week, and I do apologize if there is like craziness. This is also a great time to be identifying behaviors you might want to change and start working on in the next lunar cycle, as well as just beginning new things. So that's really the general vibe of the new moon, as you would probably imagine. Now, just quickly, I do host new moon and full moon rituals over on Patreon. So that is 2 live rituals a month, every month, for my patrons. So for the upcoming new moon, we're going to be focusing primarily on the energies of Taurus. So as a reminder, you will always know what sign the new moon is in because it corresponds exactly with the current zodiac sign. So we are in Taurus season, thus the new moon is going to be in Taurus, if that makes sense. Now the second new moon of the month, which is actually happening on Saturday, is also referred to as the black moon, which sounds very spooky, though there is no basis for that specific name in like science, like astronomers don't necessarily call it that. It's more for us like spiritual witchy folks. It can also refer to the 4th new moon in a season, but generally speaking, it is the second new moon in a month. So yes, amongst some practitioners, the black moon is actually seen as a time when your spell work is more powerful and more potent. So if you are like hesitant about maybe working on the new moon, take that into consideration, especially because we are experiencing a black moon. Now let's pivot and chat just briefly about the solar eclipse. Now, depending on your practice, you may be advised not to practice at all during an eclipse. Now, I've seen some people being like extra dramatic about it online and like fear mongers. I just do not like, and nothing like seriously bad is going to happen to you should you practice during a solar eclipse. So a solar eclipse happens when the moon is new and is in line between the earth and the sun. So if the earth is here, the moon is here, and the sun is here. So the moon blocks out the sun. Now, because of its position currently, like in our night sky, in North America, we're not going to be able to see the eclipse. Honestly, it's happening kind of in the southern hemisphere, towards like Antarctica and like South America. But the moon isn't even going to fully eclipse the sun. So we're going to see at most just like a little like chunk of it being taken away should you be in like the viewing zone. In fact, at most about 54% of the sun will be covered at the height of the eclipse. And also just as a PSA, please like never look directly at the sun. Like I feel like I don't need to say that, but also I just don't want people being like, let me experience this eclipse and then just like go blind. I guess I don't think that's how that works, but just like please protect your eyes. Now, to that end, there are some witches, like I said, who will advise you not to practice during a solar eclipse. They may say that something horrible will happen or that you'll end up getting hurt. What they're likely referring to is the belief that the energy during a solar eclipse brings in this element of chaos into your space that you're working. So for me, if I am practicing during an eclipse of any kind, I'm just more careful with my words just because I am a little bit superstitious when it comes to that. I don't truly believe that anything like awful will happen to me, but I understand that like chaos might be like infused in my practice. So I'm always really careful, like specifically super careful about picking my words while practicing during a solar eclipse or an eclipse of any kind. So just keeping that in mind. It doesn't scare me though, so it is completely up to you as to your comfort level of practicing during an eclipse, and no one should pressure you to practice or to not practice. So Yeah. Now, the new moon is going to be in this sign of Taurus, which is the sign of like comfort, the sign of grounding. Well, Taurus is an earth sign, which is probably why I vibe with like all my Taurus queens out there, like super hard. But they are very much like associated with a sense of like sensuality, like comforts, material wealth, the material world in general. Being an earth sign kind of goes hand in hand. So to honor this type of year, you might want to kind of bring that energy into your own home. Maybe just going, you know, on a little shopping day, maybe treating yourself to something nice, even if it's like from the thrift store or something. I mean, hell, most of the stuff that I have in my house that are like my favorite things have come from thrift stores. But just like endeavoring to have that cozy sort of day. It can also be feeding your body and, you know, nourishing yourself. So not only nourishing like your mental health, but also your physical health. Whatever that looks like to you, I hope that you find the space to indulge in something lavish. So I personally feel like this specific eclipse is like pretty significant and also a great way to begin the summer season. I just feel like Beltane really just like kicks off summer for me, even though it's in May, I know, but my brain doesn't work properly. We are celebrating the new moon on Walpurgis Night or Witch's Night, which we talked about in our Beltane video. I just find the timing of this particular new moon to be like, just like interesting. Like I feel like it is significant that we are celebrating a black moon. So the second new moon in a season during a partial solar eclipse on Walpurgis Night right before the Celtic pagan festival of Beltane. It just seems very significant to me. So even if you just take a moment to stop, maybe light a candle or put some intentions out into the universe, I really recommend doing so on April 30th, which is Saturday. If you would like to join me for some new moon ritual type stuff, that is going to be up on my Patreon ASAP. We are meeting live for my current patrons at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be reposting the replay as soon as we're done. So yeah, I think it's just gonna be a great moon. It's a time to indulge and treat yourself to something lavish and like the powerful, amazing witch king and or queen and or regent that you are. So yes, lots of self-care as always, and I hope that you guys have a fabulous new moon. If you do end up like taking pictures of your altars or your workings, please tag me in it so I can hype you up. I love seeing your guys's like workings. It's amazing, and I'm just like so honored that you like choose to share that part of your life with me. It like literally makes my day every day. So thank you guys so much. I hope this was an informative video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.